What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stimulus update. If you have watched either one of my previous two videos I did today, then you know there were reports earlier this morning and this afternoon that we will potentially be seeing a $600 to $700 stimulus check. Well, those are not just reports. That is what is actually happening. Our leaders, our four corners, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Kevin McCarthy are all saying that yes, we are looking into stimulus checks. And here's one of the reasons why. This isn't the main reason why. This is one of the reasons why. What many people were saying, and even earlier this morning I brought this to your attention. If you didn't watch that video, I'll link to both of the videos I did earlier today down in the description box below, so make sure you go and check those out as well. But earlier this morning I mentioned how there's a group of progressives, okay, that got together and they decided, we have to have stimulus checks. And the reason why, the number one reason why, is because there are people that are hurting. There's a lot of people that are hurting, not just the businesses. And right now, in this $748 billion stimulus package, this is putting about half of that money, $300 billion, back into businesses. And what they were saying is that if you just infuse cash into these businesses, they're going to do the exact same thing that they did before. Their doors will stay open for a little bit, but without the government stepping in again, then they will not be able to actually stay open. So we need to infuse the American people with cash as well. That's one of the reasons why. The other reason why, second reason, is because if you are providing money for these businesses, that's great. But it's not just the businesses that are hurting. There's more individuals that do not own a business that need help. And you are allowing people that actually do not need help to get a PPP loan? That just didn't make sense. So they're saying we have to provide for the American people. So that's essentially what they're doing. But we also have some more insights as to why this is happening now. According to multiple reports, Mitch McConnell said on a GOP phone call earlier today that the two senators in Georgia, Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, are getting hammered. They are getting hammered due to the Republicans' lack of sending stimulus. Here's what you need to understand. Whether you are Republican or Democrat, independent or anything else, doesn't matter. Here's the truth. The person in charge is always the one that pretty much gets the blame. Well, who's in charge? Is it Nancy Pelosi? No. Is it Mitch McConnell? No. Is it Joe Biden? No. Who is it? Who's the person in charge? It's President Trump. What is President Trump? He's a Republican. So who is technically holding out all stimulus? Well, if we look at that fact, it is Republicans, because they are the ones in charge. That is the reason why, as of right now, according to multiple reports, that Mitch McConnell and the Republicans want to do whatever they can, and if that means spending $150 billion of the Americans' taxpayer dollars in order to pretty much buy a seat in the Senate for one of these two Republicans, then that's what they're going to do. That is what they are willing to do. So yes, stimulus checks should be higher than $600 to $700, but as of right now, us as Americans, we should just be happy with whatever we can get from our so-called leaders. If it's $600 to $700, well, that's what we can get. So, I'm not saying that's right, because we've been waiting, 8 months for a second stimulus check? There's other countries, Canada, just up north from us, they're getting $2,000 per month. How fair is that? Well, this is what we were given. This is the hand we were dealt, so we need to live with it. So, just to give you a recap of where we're at right now, what currently stands. Here's what we know. There is only one stimulus package on the table as of right now. That $908 billion stimulus package, gone. That $916 billion stimulus package, gone. That $500 billion skinny bill that Mitch McConnell wanted to propose, gone. There's only one package. It's for $748 billion. This package, it does include roughly, based on the last report, about $150 billion for stimulus checks. And they will be for anywhere between $600 to $700. It will also include $300 per week in unemployment for 16 weeks. It would also include $300 billion for PPP funding for small businesses, $82 billion for education funding, $25 billion for rental assistance, $13 billion for food assistance, and billions of dollars more. It does not include state and local government funding at the tune of about $160 billion, and there's no mention for liability protections either. When it comes to the stimulus checks, though, here's the big news. When it comes to stimulus checks, according to John Thune, a Republican, the number 2 Republican in the Senate, he says Republicans do not want stimulus checks going out to people that are also getting unemployment benefits. It just wouldn't be fair. So, right now, the way that John Thune is making it seem is if you get unemployment benefits and that extra $300 per week boost, you would not receive a $600 to $700 stimulus check. Now, how they're going to do that, I have no clue. This would be an administration nightmare. It would be so difficult to administer. Because how do you do this? How do you know when somebody gets their unemployment benefits? Well, you can look through the state, you can get their records, all that stuff, but the IRS doesn't really talk with individual states quite like that. So, somebody could get a stimulus check and then they have to pay back that stimulus check. It honestly just makes absolutely no sense, but that's what he's saying. Now, again, whether that's right or wrong, that's up for them to decide. I'm not a person in Congress. I'm not a lawmaker. I have no say in this. I have my own personal feelings, but obviously they don't go along with what John Thune is saying. But again, that's just me. Now, I know a lot of people are worried right now, and I know they're only going to get a little more anxious. When are we going to see it? When is it going to happen? Will we actually get this stimulus package done? I am optimistic we will, but at the same time, I'm also fearful that anything could just completely derail this entire negotiation. Until this package has passed and checks start flowing into your bank account, then honestly anything right now could derail this. And I'm just hoping that's not the case. Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi both stated they will stay as long as it takes until this deal is done. Hopefully they stick by that. However, most of our leaders are coming out and saying that they are getting closer. The deal is getting very close. Mitch McConnell says we are getting closer and closer. Nancy Pelosi says a deal is within reach. Steny Hoyer says he is hoping for a deal later today or early tomorrow morning. And we even heard from Joe Biden. The stimulus package is encouraging. It looks like it's very, very close. It's a down payment, an important down payment that's going to have to be done. It's very important to get done. Now, what you need to keep in mind is that Joe Biden is already looking into the future. He has a little bit over 1 month until he will be the next president of the United States. Well, right now, he is planning on what can he do, how can he stabilize the economy, how can he provide for the American people in a way that Congress has not provided for them at this point. Well, whether you like him or not, it doesn't really matter. What matters at this point is our government needs to do whatever they can to provide for the people that they are supposed to serve. Because right now, the government has negatively impacted every single one of us for over the past year, or right about the past year. So, with so many people on board, my opinion is it would make absolutely no sense to delay this stimulus package any further. We have heard from Steny Hoyer, and he says he is hopeful that we will see a stimulus deal sometime later today, if not tomorrow morning. I'm hopeful we see it sometime today. If it happens today and we can start seeing the bill written or actually put out there so we can view it, that would be great, because then we can see the House vote on it, we can see the Senate vote on it, we can see President Trump sign it into law. Remember, the House and Senate don't need to just vote on the stimulus package, they also have to vote on that government funding bill. This is a big issue because as of right now, there's been agreement in principle on both of those. But we need agreement in principle from everybody that yes, I will vote and support the government funding bill so that we can tie that stimulus package to it. If for some reason people do not like what's in that government funding bill and they vote no because now the two packages are tied together, that means both of them will be derailed, the government would shut down, and there would be no stimulus payments to anybody. So that's not what we want. Based on our reports this afternoon, though, that many people believe that a deal could be agreed upon within the next 24 hours. Not just on the government funding bill, but on the stimulus package as well. They're getting so close. So we are within about 24 hours of seeing this bill actually be accepted and approved. That's good. It will not be voted on within the next 24 hours, but some people are saying that we should know within the next 24 hours when the votes will happen. Many expect they're going to happen not this weekend. They will most likely happen next week, which means we will also, according to one Republican, we will also have another probably about a 4 to 5 day government stopgap bill to push the government funding a little bit further to keep the government open so that we can actually have a vote, most likely 21st, 22nd, or the 23rd of December. So sometime next week. Now, here's another thing that is playing a part in these negotiations. And this is big for a lot of people. Right now, many cities are expecting to do what California has done. Many states are saying they could actually adopt this way of thinking, this way forward. What Governor Newsom has done is he split up California into 5 different regions. And he locks down the different regions as the ICUs actually have a less than 15% capacity. So when they are pretty much reaching their limit and they only have a 15% window left, then he's shutting down or pretty much locking down that region. Well, many cities are contemplating doing this exact same thing, but waiting until after Christmas. Here's the reason why. Most people anticipate, most governors anticipate, no matter how many warnings, how many words of wisdom and cautions they put out there, most Americans are going to travel for the holidays. They will go to their friends, their families, they will gather, and the virus will spread. So what they're saying is, let's just let Americans do what they're going to do anyway. And then, again, this is not their exact quote, I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but let's just let Americans do what they're going to do anyway. And then, after Christmas, before New Year's, we're just going to lock things down. The most notable city that is thinking about doing this is New York City. This means in New York City, about 8.5 million people could be stuck. And this would require even more help from the government itself to provide for these people during this tough time. We are already seeing residents in California going through this exact same thing. And what's being said is we can see this spread across the country within as little as 3 weeks. So before New Year's, which is 15 days away, we could see many cities, many states go into an even stricter lockdown in order to prevent the virus from spreading. Now, if this happens, many essential businesses will still be open, but the majority of all businesses would remain closed. This would be devastating to the small businesses. But again, if this happens and we start to see PPP funding roll in at the first of the year, then this might be okay. But again, it requires government funding in order to do this. So we're going to see what happens there, because as of right now, there's no state and local government funding at all being talked about in this package. So that is what we know right now regarding stimulus and regarding potential lockdowns. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you keep your family safe. But as I know more regarding stimulus and this potential stimulus package of $748 billion to $900 billion, I will bring those updates to you. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.